Okay everybody, this is part 3 of the Toolbox tutorial. In this tutorial we are going to start actually building your color palette, so you have all of the colors available to actually start making these kind of gray clay looking balloons actually look like balloons. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the materials editor and start making what's called materials, and that just refers to the surface of this mesh or the meshes that we have out here and how they react to light in your environment and giving them a particular color. So the first thing we need to do is we're going to build we're going to add a bunch of objects first of all. So we're going to go to the object menu here. We're going to keep this as object 1, but let's go to properties and we're going to rename this models. So this is going to be basically your rough models. And if you look down here in the lower left, it says object models now, which is where we're at. Okay, we're going to go to object and new, and we're going to build all this in order of the Qualitex catalog. So our first object is going to be standard colors. So just rename this standard colors and say OK. Back to object, new, and this is going to be jewel tone colors, and then object, new, and then this is fashion colors, object, new, radiant, pearl colors. See a pattern starting to develop here. Object new, pastel pearl colors, object new, metallic metallic colors. Okay, so now what you've got is you have models, and then you have standard colors, jewel tone colors, fashion colors, radiant pearl colors, pastel pearl colors, and metallic colors. I'm skipping some of the other like agates and like the neon colors and some of the kind of stuff that I really don't use a lot. I mean, I may do a set of neon colors at some point, but for now we'll just stick with these are kind of these standard total assortment most people work with. Okay. So here's where it gets a little bit tricky. We're going to go to object one more time. We're going to say new. This is defaulting to object 01. Let's rename this to, let's call this workbench. Can't spell, workbench, alright. So now if you go to object, we got everything here and we're in the workbench object. So what we're going to do in the workbench object is this is where we're going to actually going to make each of the individual colors for each of our sets. So of the standard set, of the jewel tone set, etc. So to do that, what we're going to do is make sure you've got your selection tool selected. Make sure your material browser is open here on the left hand side, this strip. If it's not there, it's this icon right here, these 4 little circles. You click on that. Alright, so we're going to make sure we've got our selection tool, and we're going to grab a sphere and just click and drag a sphere out here in the top view, and then go to build, and then we're going to go to convert to mesh. Alright, and then edit and locate, and then we're going to center this about origin just so it's right in the middle of the view so it's nice and neat. Let's go ahead and go file and save right now. So what this is this is just going to be an object, an item that we can move around, and what it does is this will take the color that we make with it and put it into the object that we're editing. And when we do that, we can delete this mesh, but the color stays behind. So this is just kind of a way to transport the color around. It'll make sense in a second. Alright, so we're going to start with the standard colors. So go over here to the object editor, the materials editor, and double click on new. And our first color is going to be dark blue. This is the materials editor. Does a lot of neat things with the actual surfaces that we'll be working with here. So first of all, we change the name to dark blue, and then we're going to change all of these values here. Ambient is going to be 1, diffuse is 1, specular is 1, emissive is 1. These are pretty easy to remember if you forget. 100 for rough, and then 50 for brilliance. So make sure all of your numbers look like that over here, and what that does is basically makes a nice shiny surface for us. So down here, RGB is going to be the actual color, so these values will determine what our color looks like. So dark blue is going to be 13, and then we are going to be on the G is 76, and then on the B is 182. Click OK, and if you look now, we have dark blue, it's labeled, and it's a nice dark blue color. Click your object out here, click this mesh, and then we're going to click apply to make it that dark blue color, and then Control C to copy, and then go to your object list, go to standard colors, and then you're going to say Control V, and then immediately delete that color. And now what you've got, if you look to the left here, you have a dark blue in the standard menu, the standard list of balloons. So we're going to do another one. So go back to Object, go back to the workbench, and now we don't need to create a new color. All we need to do is edit this one. So double click on this dark blue in the materials. Next color is going to be green, so rename this green. And then the values for green are going to be 31 for the R, and then 98 for the G, and 9 for the B. Nice green color there. While it's still selected, Control C, Object, Standard Colors, Control V, and then immediately delete. And as you can see, we start to populate the materials browser over here on the left. And by doing this in order, they will always remain in order like this on the materials browser. So we have dark green. So we're going to continue. We'll do one more. And the next color, I think, I've got a quick little cheat sheet here. Yes, is red. So we're going to go to Object, back to the workbench, double click on this same material, and we're going to label it red. And the values for red are going to be 221, 0, and 0. Say OK. Make sure that's highlighted. Control C to copy. Object, Standard Colors, Control V to paste, and then immediately hit delete to delete it. So, as you can see, we've started to build a nice list over here. I'm going to stop here for a second and go to a quick spreadsheet. What this shows you here, these are all of the RGB values I've just been entering. We've done dark blue, we've done green, we've done red. The rest of the colors are here in the standard set. So if you want to pause or write this down or take a screenshot, I'm not going to sit here and do every single one, because it's kind of, once you've got it down, obviously you can just go through and just start putting all these numbers in. So you're going to label the next one yellow, put these 3 values into RGB, next one orange, these 3 values, etc. So get a screenshot of that or pause it, write this down, whatever you got to do. Alright, so we're going to go back now to Animator. In the objects, the next thing we're going to work on is, let's stop for a second actually. In the objects, the standard colors are going to have these values, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 150. These values will not change for any of the standard colors. Those values are also the same for your fashion colors. So I'm going to give you those right now. So when you go to do your fashion colors, you'll do them the same way. So the fashion colors are here. Here is ivory silk, which will be your first one. And these are in order, by the way, left to right, top to bottom. So ivory silk, goldenrod, coral, rose, wildberry, maroon. Just added a few. We added maroon. I added spring green, and also the new, where is it at? Navy. So all of the current colors are here. So you're going to do the same thing. Label it ivory silk. Put these 3 values in the RGB. And then you will build your fashion color list. I hope that makes sense. Alright, back to Animator. Okay, the jewel tones, which is our second one here, are a little bit different because they are going to have a different, the surface is going to be different on those. So let me go to my jewel tones here so I can get those numbers for you. Okay, so when it comes to making the jewel tones, we're going to go to Object again, back to our workbench. We're going to use the same object the whole time. This workbench is where we're going to make all of our colors. So our first color is going to be, in the jewel tone, is Jewel Magenta. So we're going to name this Jewel Magenta. Okay, now all of these numbers here stay the same, 11111, 150. And then what you're going to see here is where it says trans, and this is a transparency. 1 is completely solid, 0 is basically gone, non-existent, disappeared. So it's kind of a percentage of how transparent an object is, or really how solid an object is. So to make a jewel tone, jewel tones are transparent, so we need to change this value from 1 to 0.66. So 0, make that 0.66 for your transparency and say OK. I'm sorry, don't say OK yet. We're going to go into the RGB and we're going to change the R to 206, G to 1, and B to 114. Say OK, and now we have a nice jewel tone magenta. And what this is, you can't really see it right now, but it actually is transparent. I'm just going to do a quick copy paste and run one out here, and what you can see is it's actually, if I put it kind of behind it like this, go here like this, and then I render this, just give you a quick demonstration, you will see that you can see the one behind it. It's actually transparent. So to a point, it's not, you know, completely transparent, but it's translucent. How's that? So that's the big deal with doing the jewel colors, is you're going to make sure that this trans is set to 0.66 for all of your jewel tone. All of these other numbers here remain the same because the surface is the same. It's just that the mesh is actually transparent to an extent, 0.66. Alright, so we can take this, our selection tool, we can copy that, we can go into our object, into our jewel tones, and paste that right in there, and then immediately delete it, and we started building our jewel tone list, same way. So obviously do all your jewel tones together, and I'm going to bring up that spreadsheet now. So here's all your numbers for your jewel tone, left to right, top to bottom is going to be the order. We've done magenta, 206, 1, and 114, and next is lime green, jewel teal. So get a screenshot of this, pause this, however you want to get this information somewhere where you can work with it, whatever you got to do. Alright, going back to Animator. Okay, the next thing we're going to work on, so we've covered the standard colors, we've covered jewel tone, fashion. Okay, now we're going to go to Radiant Pearl, and this is the same thing. We're going to have to change the surface properties for the pearl to get the pearl effect also. And I've worked with this quite a bit, and this is about the best I can get a representation of a pearl balloon, because it's kind of a hard surface to duplicate. So we're going to go to the workbench again, and we're going to double click on our jewel magenta. First thing we're going to do right away is set our transparency back to 1 because the pearls are not translucent. Okay, so our radiant pearl color, our first one is going to be Pearl Citrine Yellow. Okay, so we're going to change this to Pearl, or Citrine, I guess. I don't know how to say it. Citrine Yellow. Okay, now these values are all going to be different because these are going to be pearl balloons. So let me bring that up. Call up a Citrine Yellow. Citrine. Okay, so ambient is going to be 0.800. Diffuse is going to be 0.700. Specular is going to be 0.700. Emissive is 0.700. And then rough is going to be 100. And brilliance is going to be 2. And then our R is 225, G is 225, and B is 0. And then say OK. And then there is our pearl citrine, whatever you want to call it, yellow. We're going to copy that, Control C, go to Object, go to our Radiant Pearl colors, Control V to paste, and then immediately delete it. The Radiant Pearl and the Pastel Pearl and the Metallic all use those same numbers. So you're going to keep all these numbers for those particular colors. You're going to go to the workbench each time, and let's see if we do a Let's see, let's do a pastel pearl. Let's do pearl white. It's nice and easy. We'll change this to pearl white. And then all those numbers stay the same. And then this is 255, 255, and 255. Say OK, and we now have our nice pastel pearl white. And we can copy that, go to Object, go to our pastel pearl colors, and paste our first pastel pearl. So you get the idea of what we're doing. So you're going to want to make sure that you keep, like I said, you keep these settings for all of your pastel colors. Oh, I'm sorry, all of your pearl colors. So your radiant pearl, your pastel pearl, and your metallic colors are all going to have these settings. So let me bring up the RGB lists for this is the radiant pearl first. If you're wondering what you're looking at, it's labeled right here. So this are the radiant pearl numbers. Screenshot that, copy that down, whatever you got to do with it. Again, these are in order, left to right, top to bottom, as they are in the catalog. Next one I'm going to bring up is the pastel pearl. Again, this uses those same settings, but these are the RGBs for those, left to right, top to bottom. And then obviously the metallic, the metallic colors, silver and gold. Those are the RGBs for those. That is basically everything you need to get your lists built over here. The next thing I'm going to do is go back to Object, go to our models, and I'm going to hit Control A, which is the shortcut for Select All, Control C to copy, and then just click to deselect, and then go to Object, Standard Colors, Control V to paste, click out here to Unselected, Jewel Tone, we're going to paste it in there, Fashion, paste it in there, Radiant, Pastel, oops, let's get rid of that, they'll go there, and then Metallic Colors, paste that in there, and then we'll keep the workbench for now because that's where we're still building our colors. But then we're going to go back to the standard colors. Okay, what I do here is there is no 30-inch in the standard color, so I just select that and delete that right away. Going to go to Jewel Tone Colors, same thing there. There is no 30-inch. Fashion Colors, no 30-inch. I'm just selecting and hitting the delete key. Radiant Pearl is a 30-inch. Actually, there are no 30 or 36-inch in either one of those. So you can delete both these, the 30 and the 36-inch, because they are not available in Radiant Pearl colors for some reason. Next object, Pastel Pearl. There is no 36-inch. And then obviously the metallic colors, there is no 36-inch also. So once you've done that, we'll go ahead and file and save. And then let's go back to our standard colors, and what you can do now is, here's our 11-inch balloon. We're going to click on that 11-inch balloon. We're going to select dark blue over here and just click apply, and we now have a nice dark blue balloon right here. And then we can, when we work with these later, you'll see how we get colors from here and move colors around. It's kind of the same technique we were using when we were actually making the colors. But be patient. We will be moving along quickly here. So take some time, and it's going to be a little bit tedious, but go through and build your color palettes, your standard colors, jewel tone colors, and fashion colors, and etc. All of those. Get that done. It'll take a little while. I worked to get these colors as close as I can, just by eyeballing them, just by looking at them. You can feel free to obviously use the editor here to tweak and move and change. You can use the values if you want to change this to a different color blue. You can see how I can move this around and get all crazy with it. If you think the dark blue that I provided wasn't quite the dark blue that you think is correct, feel free to change it, obviously. So again, I'm kind of guessing, kind of looking and working with it. I just added the navy, the maroon, and the spring green, and I think I had those three colors like just working tonight, so they might be a little bit off still. I worked with them for a little bit, but they might need a little bit of tweaking. But I think that's about it for now. Take some time, get your colors all put together, and make sure you save as you are working, because if you don't, you will the program can crash and you'll lose all of your work. So I think that's it for now. I'm going to go through the spreadsheets one more time and bring them up one at a time so you can get those if you need to one last time. So we'll start with standard, which is here. And again, it's labeled at the top, standard. And the next one we will do is jewel tone. And then fashion. And then radiant pearl. And then pastel pearl. And metallic. Okay, I think that's it for now. Thanks for watching, and I will have another tutorial coming out soon. We will basically be done with the toolbox, and we'll be moving on to actually building some bulk decor items. It'll actually start getting pretty cool now. Alright, I will be back soon. Thank you.